All right, y'all. So it's day 4 of my 1,000-day series, 1K a day. We up 4K, man. It's Tuesday, I think January the 20th, if I'm not mistaken. Or is it the 17th? I don't know, one of those days. I'll have it above me. But my Tuesdays are typically my rest days because Monday is a high weight, low rep day, so it's really strenuous. So Tuesdays I do active recovery, and what I did for active recovery today was mainly get out in the grass field again and just do a little bit of warm-up exercises and a lot of movement. It's nice to get out in the sun and get that movement really working. So that was a good day for me. Nothing much. Took me about an hour or so. So about an hour focused on mobility for my goal of track and field today. Now, something I wanted to touch on though was what I do outside of track and field. I have been working on trying to really kind of expand, and what I mean by that is expand my social media. I haven't been putting it into action yet. I always start with a plan and actionable things, and I make sure before I put it in action that I am going to be able to scale it into action, which means I'm not just going to do it one day and then 5 days later feel like I don't want to do it anymore. It's something, the plan makes sure that I can keep it up for at least a year. And so with this expansion of my social media, one of my friends asked me, because I posted something yesterday actually. I posted something on my story, and I let people know that I'll start posting these on day 40. And my friend asked me, he's like, why are you waiting until day 40? Well, this is the way I see it, and this is the way I think, and I really want to share that because I think it's a unique kind of way to create or to think of creating content. And if it's not, I think it's at least helpful. So the reason I'm waiting until day 40 to release this on my accounts as a post is because I'm making like 10-minute clips of me talking, and with these 10-minute clips there are many clips inside of it, and I'm estimating that I'm going to have between 8 to 10 clips out of each day. Let's just keep it safe and say 5. So that's 5 posts every single day that I record one of these. So if I wait 40 days on Instagram alone, I will have 200 posts in the chamber before this ever even hits my account. So and then I'm not just doing this on Instagram, I'm also doing this on Twitter, I'm doing this on TikTok, I'm doing this on YouTube, and I'm also gonna do it on Threads. So that's 5 different avenues, which is 1,000 posts. I'm going to have 1,000 posts on day 40 when I start posting. So I have 1,000 posts in the chamber, and this is just gonna be good to be able to separate my emotions of how it's received, because I'm realizing that my target audience is not my current audience. My current audience right now, and I thank God for these 20 people, but it's just like 20 people, 15 to 20 people, and they're really just my friends and people I met during boxing. Shout out to Dom Fitness in Charlotte for linking me up with some great people, but it's just those guys, and I am super thankful for them. And when I'm trying to expand, I realize I have, I think, 2,300 followers, and 2,300 or 2,280 of them couldn't give a damn of what I got going on. I realize that, so I know that my current audience is not my target audience. So that first 40 days is going to be hard. It's going to be a transitionary period, and I'm going to be able to detach my emotions from it because I will be 40 days ahead in my recording. So I'm like, yeah, I don't care what's happening in the first 4 days. I know they're gonna flop. but I have 1,000 posts in the chamber, and I'm just clicking send. I'm not. It's almost like if I want to give an example for my friends who work in the corporate world, it's like being ahead in work. When I'm 40 days ahead on post, you know, when you were near your quota, or you're right under your quota, and you were making a bit, or you're making a sales call. That sales call holds pressure. But if you've hit your quota, you nailed your quota, and you're, you know, thousands of dollars ahead of it, dude, the sale call that you're gonna make today is gonna be easy. There's no pressure involved. So I'm taking the pressure off of myself by putting 1,000 posts of work in between what I'm doing that day and what I'm releasing to the public that day. And I just think that's a unique perspective that I wanted to share, because I think that'll help a lot of content creators, honestly. Like, I feel like I would even record this differently if I'm like, bro, I got to release this. I have to release this today. Like, I would make sure I wanted to look good today, because I know people are going to judge me for today. I kind of want this to look a little bit bad, because guess what? I want to be, in 40 days, be able to say I improved. You know what I mean? So it's it takes pressure off of you, is what it does. But one thing I wanted to touch on today, and I don't know how I'm going to, you know, this is a 1,000-day process. So over time, I'm going to really structure these videos. Like by day 200, this John going to be structured. I'm going to have, you know, summary, this talking point, and then I'm going to touch on, you know, maybe my thought for the day. But here's a thought that I wanted to touch on for today. It's about the future and how I split up the future. I split up the future into 4 futures. You have the far future, you have the middle future, you have the near future, and then you have the immediate future. Now, when I talk about the far future, I'm talking about you in 30 years. I'm 27. I'm talking about the 57-year-old me. And I think that it is very wise to envision and take care of the far future first. That is the future I prioritize in my day-to-day life. And I prioritize that by wisdom, by taking the risk now, because I know that 57-year-old me will be so happy that I've learned all this stuff in my 20s, and that 57-year-old me don't have to struggle to learn life lessons, because 27-year-old me took that responsibility upon himself. Now, the next future is the middle future. That's around, I want to say, let's just say 10 years. So that's 37-year-old me. The 37-year-old me wants to be rich. I know that. I know that me in 10 years, I don't want to work for nobody. I want work for me to be optional in 10 years. When I show up, it's because I want to be there, not because I have to be there. And I'm taking care of him second. And I had to do something that allowed me the avenue to give me a chance to be that wealthy. And that's the second man that I take care of in the future. That's the second future I take care of, is that mid-future. Making sure that future me is taken care of. The next one is the near future. This is about 2 to 3 years. Now, the near future is someone that, you know, this is where things get kind of real, where you're like, all right, in 2 to 3 years, where do I want to be? This is where I think 10-year plans should be condensed down to just 2 to 3 year plans. You should never really plan for 10 years, like have a full-fledged plan for 10 years, unless it's a business. As a personal, I don't think in your 20s you should have a 10-year plan, because your brain is still adapting. Ask any 35-year-old that is successful if they think the same way they did when they were 25. They're not. That's not the thing. So having a 10-year plan in your mid to late 20s, I think, is a bit performative. You should condense it down to 2 to 3 years, so you can really focus on, all right, this is where I want my next move to be. And that's the third future I take care of, is the near future, where it's like, all right, let me make sure in 2 to 3 years I'm doing good. And how I take care of the near future, is I make sure that day to day I put the work in. Like, my near future is track and field. That's a sport. So I know for a fact my near future, and what involves my near future is hard work in the sport. So I know in 2 to 3 years, if I want that near future me to be satisfied, I gotta work every single day on something. And that's why I focus on track 7 days a week. I don't take a day off mentally. I will never take a mental day off. I will always be thinking on how to get better. But that's just because the near future me needs that. Because I want the near future me is knocking on the door of the immediate me, and it's saying, hey, look, we in 2 to 3 years we got to be really good at track if we want to be, wealthy. If we want to be in a financial situation where we don't have to show up to work when we don't want to show up to work. If we want to be in a financial situation where we're a voice of wisdom to others in 10 years, you got to put the work in today. And that goes into the immediate future. Now, the immediate future is what I think everyone focuses on. I think where people really get stuck in. I think that's how people get stuck in the same type of job. They look up and they realize, oh, shoot, 10 years went by, or 5 years went by. Oh, shoot, and I've been in the same position because I've just been worried about my Microsoft Teams notifications. I got a meeting tomorrow, this, that, and the third. I try to put the least amount of emphasis on my near future. I know for the fact I'm going to make it to tomorrow. Me personally, I'm waking up tomorrow. So I'll be all right in the near future. Or not in the near future, but in the immediate future, right? So I really use my immediate future to not worry. I try to make sure I do not worry about it. I try to make sure I kind of live in that immediate future by thinking of the near future. The immediate future is the least important. But a lot of people get caught up in it because what's most important of the near future, and you have to put some emphasis on it, because what's involved in the immediate future is bills, is your mortgage payment, is car payment, responsibilities, hanging out with your friends. This is all immediate future type of stuff. This is present day stuff. And it's important, you have to tie the present day all the way up to that far future. So to recap, we have our far future, which I recommend putting the most focus on. And then we have our all right, let me reword it. We have our far future, which is 30 years. Who are you in 30 years? That's our far future. That's you in 30 years. Who do we want to be? What would make that person proud? What would make 50-something-year-old you proud? Far future, you in 30 years. Intermediate to middle future, that's you in about 10 years. How do you want your life to be structured in 10 years? That's kind of what you want to have. I feel like that's what the immediate future is to me, or an intermediate future, and the middle future is to me. Let's go about the near future. That's 2 to 3 years. That's you in 2 to 3 years. That is, your plan that you put into action today. That's it. It's starting to get good. That's you get 720 days on your belt. You're good at what you've been doing for your last 3 years, right? That's the near future. And the immediate future, your relationships, what you're doing day in and day out, your daily responsibilities, tasks you got to do by the end of the day. That's the near future. That is something, again, that you should put the least amount of stress and emphasis on. That's just something you have to kind of not mindlessly do, but you can't get lost. You really do not want to get lost in the immediate future. All right, that's all for today.